Jesus.
Jesus.
Hi, Dr. Amy.
Good morning.
Did I pronounce your name right?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm so glad you got the message and did not go to Philly Mocha this morning.
There goes a doctor there, Reverend Bill. How you doing?
Morning, Jesus.
Where are you, Jesus? Never mind. And they're off.
Here's your God Call with Reverend Bill.
Can you imagine your life being even just a little bit better? And could it be possible to you at all that that change that you're looking for, that you're seeking, that you're desiring in your life is too big for God to accomplish? Is it something that's out of range for a power that creates galaxies and stars and everything on planet Earth? Is it possible that it's not possible for you to have that good in your life? Of course not. So what could be standing between you and the good that you're desiring, other than something in yourself? Open yourself to the newness and allow the good to flow.
When it's not always raining, there'll be days like this. When there's no one complaining, there'll be days like this. When it all falls into place, like the flick of a switch. Well, my mama told me there'll be days like this. When you don't need to worry, there'll be days like this. When no one's in a hurry, there'll be days like this. When you don't get betrayed like that old Judas kiss. Yeah, my mama told me there'll be days like this. When no one steps on your dreams, there'll be days like this. When people understand what you mean, there'll be days like this. When you ring out the changes of how everything is. Yeah, my mama told me there'll be days like this. Well, my mama told me there'll be days like this. Yeah, my mama told me there'll be days like this. Yeah, you must remember there'll be days like this.
Oh, thank you so much, Avi. And good morning, New Thought Philadelphia. Here we are on Zoom again. We were scheduled to be at Philly Mocha this week. It turns out that there were enough people who have fun summer activities and other people who were not interested in being indoors with masks on that New Thought Philly ran out of volunteers to run the event. Oh, so here we are on Zoom because the love gets to unfold in whatever way it's going to unfold. You guys, by this point in time, all know the Zoom rules. We keep your microphone muted, except when you're going to be sharing, so we can avoid the overwhelming cacophony, except for times like now, where I invite you to unmute your microphone, turn it on, and go ahead and repeat after me. I open myself to love.
I open myself to love.
Open myself to joy.
I open myself to joy.
I open myself to the awareness of the good surrounding me.
I open myself to the awareness that's surrounding me.
Love and possibility is right here, right now.
Love and possibility is right here, right now.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Excellently done. Exercise your mute button one more time as I remind you that New Thought Philadelphia is an open and loving community of spiritual adventurers, welcoming each person to experience their divine nature in an empowering space of unconditional love. Whatever path you've been on, wherever you're heading next, whatever brought you through our Zoom today, we have been expecting you, and welcome home. So we believe that there is one power, love, intelligence, or force that creates everything, including each of us. And we each use that same power, love, intelligence, or force to create our lives according to our beliefs. Or as we like to say around here, your new life begins with a new thought. If you have an extraneous electronic device, like not the one that you're looking at the meeting on, just put it on shush for the next hour or so, so that we can turn our attention within and allow that internal presence rather than the external distraction. I am Reverend Dave Marcioni. I'm Reverend Bill Marcioni. Got ahead of myself there. Reverend Bill Marcioni. The music today is Avi Wisnia. And a practitioner of the day today is our own prodigal son, Reverend Dave Schbach, who is going to begin us with our opening prayer.
Hello, New Thought Philadelphia. It's so wonderful to see friends old and new and to be back for a day. And I'm going to ask everybody, let's turn within, except Jesus. Please be one with the road. So let's just, if you want, close your eyes, because we're going to turn our attention inward to make that connection with the allness of life, the allness of love, the allness of everything, for it is the divine spirit that flows through, and it's absolutely all there is, from the smallest particle of energy to every idea that unfolds to the vastness of this material universe. This is all the one happening in this eternal moment now. And so I know that each one of us is individualizing a divine idea of who and what we are, that divine essence expressed uniquely through us and as us in this very instant. For that is the nature of God, to express itself through us and as us in this very nature and instant. And so I claim for this celebration the divine intelligence recognizing itself through the music, through the words, through the interactions, through all of the ideas that bubble forward. This is the divine goodness, the connection, the allness of love, knowing itself in greater interaction, in greater harmony, in greater awareness of our interconnectedness. This is happening right here and right now, through all of this activity. And so I just give thanks to speak the word of recognition of the divine moment happening in this instant, of the perfection of life unfolding in this instant, of the awareness expanding into the allness of good in this instant. And so knowing that this is whole and complete, I release this word to the law that has been active from the very beginning of time, once again is moving forward to bring this about. For it has all of the intelligence and all of the power required to make it so. I allow it. I know it is firmly established in my consciousness and therefore established in the consciousness of the one. It is good and more good. I know it, and so it is. So take a deep breath and bring your attention back to the Zoom screen or your room, whichever one works best for you. So at New Thought Philadelphia and throughout New Thought and Science of Mind, we are firm believers in the practicality of prayer, that it evidences itself in our lives. We'd like to hear from you guys about what's coming forward for you, what's working, how's it moving in your life. So anybody got a prayer work story that they'd like to share? Linda.
Morning, everybody. So I have a THC ointment that really helps my back. And I go to the dispensaries and I call all around, and there's this one thing and only one thing works. Nothing else touches it. And they're always out of it. And so, yesterday I did a practical prayer, and then I did some research, and bingo, there it was. So I had to drive downtown, but that's okay. I probably would have driven to Tucson to get this stuff. Anyway, I was quite happy, and it was like instantaneous. I did the prayer, and then I went online, and there it was. So it was pretty spectacular.
That's wonderful.
And I'm happy.
Yay, yay, indeed. As we like to say, God is in the thought and God is in the pill as well. Anyone else? Sarah.
I had to go to New York City recently for a work trip, and I haven't seen one of my close friends, Emily Brown, who lives in New York City, I don't know, in at least 3 or 4 years. So I, you know, in alignment with everything being one and it all working out, I reached out to her a week ahead of time and I said, hey, I know it's been 3 years since I've seen you and you haven't heard from me in a really long time, but if it works out for you, I'll be there. And it happened that that was the day between all of her travels that she had off. And so she met up with me after our day, and what we thought was going to be like 2 hours of hanging out turned into like 5 hours of hanging out. And it was like way past my bedtime on a school night, but it was totally worth it. And I really feel like that was, spirit allowing things to just work out, even on a work day, even on a school night, like just still making time for connection, which was great.
Wonderful. In the divine flow.
We were tired the next day, but it was worth it.
Anyone else? Okay. So I'd just like to invite you, if you are having a challenge with your practical prayer that you're doing to change your life, we have practitioners and ministers, as you guys know, that are available to help you pass the challenge because they have an absolutely clear idea of the perfection of your being always. And that's what they're there for. So if you're having a hiccup in your thought process, they can give you a good, cool drink of water to get rid of it.
We're scared.
Oh, yeah. And now I'm remembering. And now we have a few absolutely vital announcements that are going to be brought to us by Sarah.
Hello again. All righty. This information can be found on our website at newthoughtphilly.org and in our weekly e-newsletter. Please sign up on the website so we can keep in touch. The Practical Prayer Podcast is now live with new episodes every Wednesday. It's a conversation between Reverend Bill and Carol Lawrence that dives into practical prayer, how it works, and how to work it. Search Practical Prayer on Apple, Google, Spotify, or Stitcher, or get the link on the website. The Practical Prayer for Real Results class on Zoom begins Tuesday at 7 p.m. for 5 weekly 1-hour sessions. You'll deepen into the steps of practical prayer. The final session is an interactive process with live original music by Amy Steinberg. Twice a day, we have community check-in and meditations on Zoom. They're inspiring and fun and are less than 15 minutes. Everyone is welcome. We'd love to have you follow New Thought Philly on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and to join the Philly Spiritual Adventurers group on meetup.com. The Conscious Creativity Core is forming now. This small group will meet on the third Tuesday of every month for a night full of fun, love, fellowship, creativity, and joy. The August 17th session will start the journey by creating a collective quilt collage. Every month will be a different creative activity. If you'd like to learn more, email creativity-core@newthoughtphilly.org. The Power of 8 Intention Circle meets Mondays at 7 p.m. Please contact Sandy for information. The Women's Group meets Thursday, August 26th at 7 p.m. You can contact Joe or Sandy for information. You heard a God call at the beginning of the celebration. You can subscribe to get God calls on your phone, interrupting you at random times 4 times a week with a reminder that you are a bright light of God's love. Thank you to the production team and presenters who make our Zoom celebrations work. There's a short technical rehearsal before the celebration on Sunday. To join the team, please contact Carla Ann. Next Sunday will be virtual again, focused on our balance point between the stories we tell about our past and the ones we will tell about our future, and how both sets of stories are subject to change. Music will be by Emily Drinker. Reverend Dave and the practitioners are available by appointment for professional prayer. After the celebration today, Reverend Dave will be available for a quick miracle in a minute prayer at no charge. We'll leave the Zoom meeting open for people to talk amongst themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. And we always have a special gift and a blessing for our second time visitors, anybody who's going to come back for a second time. The next time we're all together, make sure to get one of the gifts, and we'll share the blessing with you as well. We also share a blessing and a welcome packet with our first time visitors. If there's anybody who's with us for the first time, if you'd raise your hand either electronically or wave it around in the world, and we are going to give you the blessing right here, right now. Well, let's just go ahead and bless everybody who's here. Everybody else, rub your hands together, generate some warmth so you can feel the love. Send that out. You are the bright light of God's love. Thank you for shining that light and sharing your love with us today, and welcome home. Under other circumstances, we would, during the next song, which is our greeting song, we'd wander around in the room together, hugging each other. The situation being what it is, just switch to your gallery view and make eye contact with the other people who are in the Zoom with you this morning as Avi does another song.
Thank you. This song is about sometimes when we're in conflict with other people or with the world, it may be some of our baggage that we're bringing to that situation that's not really present in the situation. So as you're hearing this song, if you want to move your bodies while you're looking around and greeting each other, go for it. Here in the attic where the floorboards creak, there's too much static, I can't hear you whisper speak. I try to stay clean, but get covered in dust. Everything between us, any moment, could completely combust. But there's another bolt of heat lightning. When things get hot, they start igniting. Is it worth the fighting? Is it worth the pain? How to try to cool down without summer rain? Picking through the boxes, now a childhood gone. Tug of a war with memories makes it hard to keep moving on. And I feel the friction between me and you. The storm in the distance, any moment, is about to blow through. But there's another bolt of heat lightning. When things get hot, they start igniting. Is it worth the fighting? Is it worth the pain? Gotta try to cool down without summer. Every time I think things are gonna change, but every time it's more the same. We've been going at it for way too long that we can't even act our age. Every time I think things are gonna change, but we just end up calling names. We can't seem to let go of yesterday. But there's another bolt of heat lightning. When things get hot, they start igniting. Is it worth the fighting? Is it worth the pain? Gotta try to cool down in the summer. Try to cool down without summer rain.
Thank you, Avi. Beautiful, beautiful. Dina is going to lead us in the Flames of Faith this morning.
Yes, I was writing Avi a note. I love that song. It was so good. Oh my goodness. Okay. Serious. We perform this ceremony to acknowledge that all people and all faiths come from the one power, love, intelligence, which we call spirit or God. We honor the richness that comes from our shared diversity and bless the interwoven energy of the divine feminine and masculine. We light the first candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the third candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the ninth candle for all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. As we light the healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone or any place you wish to have experienced the healing flame of God's eternal love.
Blessed be.
Blessed be.
The reading today is from the Science of Mind textbook, and it's going to be shared with us by Sandy.
Good morning. Science of Mind textbook. This is called The Indivisible Whole. Our conscious intelligence is as much of life as we understand. We've stopped looking for the spirit because we found it. It's what you and I, it's what you are, and it's what I am. We cannot be anything else if we tried. The thing that we look with is the thing we have been looking for. That is why it's written, I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. Psalms 82:6. We've stopped looking for the law. We've found it. In the universe, we call it universal subjectivity or soul. In our own experience, we call it the subjective state of our thought, which is our individual use of universal law. We have found the law and demonstrated it. We find that both the law and the spirit are limitless. What is it we need for greater freedom? Nothing but a greater realization of what we already know. We should never hesitate to say that we know the truth, because we do, for the realization of the unity of God and man is the truth. We simply need a greater realization of this. How are we to get it? Only by penetrating deeper and yet deeper into our own divine nature, pushing further and further back into the infinite. Where are we to do that? And this is in all caps. There is no place except within that we can do it. Who is to do it for us? Again, all caps, no one. No one can. Others can treat us. They can set the law in motion for us and help us to become prosperous. This is both good and helpful. But the evolution of the individual, the unfoldment of personality, the enlightenment of the soul, the illumination of the spirit can come only to the degree that the individual himself purposes to let life operate through him. Let this mind be in you, which also is in Christ, Jesus Christ. This is the mind of God, the only mind, the supreme intelligence of the universe. The answer to every question is within man, because man is within spirit, and spirit is an indivisible whole. The solution to every problem is within man. The healing of all disease is within man. The forgiveness of all sin is within man. The raising of the dead is within man. Heaven is within man. This is why Jesus prayed to this indwelling, I am, and said, Our Father, which art in heaven. And again he said, the kingdom of heaven is within you. Each of us then represents the whole. How shall we feel toward the whole? In the old order, we thought of the whole as sort of a mandatory power, an autocratic government, an arbitrary God, sending some to heaven and some to hell, and all for his glory. Now we are more enlightened, and we realize that there could be no such divine being. We have meditated upon the vastness of the universe as law, and we have said, God is law. There is a divine principle, which is God. In the new order of thought, we are likely to fall into as great an error as in the old thought, unless we go much deeper than thinking of God as merely principle. God is more than law or principle. That was all caps. God is the infinite spirit, the limitless conscious life of the universe, the one infinite person within whom all people live, the one indivisible whole.
That trunk is filled with dusty air, ghosts that lived and still don't care. Resist the urge to turn around and set it down. Set that baggage down, brother. Set that baggage down. Throw it in the river. Let that baggage drown. Everyone that left you, every friend that ran, everything that broke you, bury it in the sand. Set that baggage down, brother. Set that baggage down. Throw it in the water. Let that baggage drown. Leave it at the station. Leave it in the street. Toss it in the gutter. Set it down at your feet. Walk on, walk on, down that road. Walk on, walk on, no need to carry that load. No more, no more, no more. When your mama left you, when you lost your job, when you were feeling hungry, no one left to rob. Set that baggage down, brother. Set that baggage down. Throw it in the river. Let that baggage drown. Let that baggage down, brother. Set that baggage down. Throw it in the water. Let that baggage drown. baggage down.
Beautiful. Thank you, Avi. The term baggage, especially when we're using it on ourselves, tends to have this negative connotation. It's the unnecessary bad stuff we're dragging around with us. You're having a conversation about usually a third person who's not there. Oh, they've got some baggage, and that's the connotation and the sense that we get from it. And we all have baggage, and we all know that we've got baggage. My first experience dealing with my own baggage was at the Intuition Center for Learning and Growth, which is in Florida. It was where I did my first spiritual and emotional clearing and cleansing and deep dive and learned some things. My teacher was Karen Vedrodi, and she was wonderful. And she periodically would talk about baggage. And since then, my understanding of baggage is that it's not just the bad stuff, the stuff that bothers us, the stuff that we're dragging around with us unnecessarily. It's our entire belief system. What happens is, as we go through life, we have an experience, and that experience informs us. Either this is something that I found enjoyable or I learned from, and I'm going to keep tabs on that and remember it so that I can do that again, or I can make use of that in the future. Or something happens that we don't like, and we understand it, we evaluate it, and we put that into our belief system as well. That's something that I don't want to repeat. These are the sorts of experiences that I would prefer not to invite into my life. And then there are things that we pick up without knowing, and that's usually what people are referring to as their baggage. We learn something in school or from our family or on the playground, and without thinking about it, it goes into our baggage, and we start carrying that around with us. And the interesting thing about our baggage is that a lot of times we're aware of some of the stuff, and there's other stuff that we're not aware of. It's just kind of operating. It's right there. And sometimes it's things that came in from a societal or a civilization level, the things that we as humans have always believed, and we just get to continue believing them. Those are operative in our belief system. It's in our baggage as well. Well, the fun begins usually when we get into a relationship, because we get into a relationship with somebody and we feel emotionally safe. And what we do is we take our baggage and we dump it on our partner, the person we're in the relationship with. And then we notice how bad some of that looks on them. And we complain about the stuff that we just dumped on them, the way that it looks on them. And it's not fair, and it causes some conflict, but that is an opportunity to open up the bags and see what's in there and see what makes sense. And there's an interesting process. Metaphorically, what we do is we can open up the bags and look inside and see what's in there and understand, oh, this is something that I learned from childhood. This is something that I learned about the way that boys should behave, or the way that this sort of these people, that particular church or religion, a judgment that I have about them, and I can understand where this came from. That's wonderful. We have to be really careful not to, after we've gone through and examined what those things are, to not pack them back in our bag again. If they're not serving us, we have the opportunity to say, this is wonderful, and I'm not going to carry this around with me anymore, and put it into a different bag, put it into a different category so that we're not carrying it around. So many times we can take all of those difficulties, those challenges, and put them into a separate bag. And then for whatever reason, we find ourselves at the baggage claim, and we say, oh, the tag matches, that's mine, and we pick it up again. And as that happens, it gets more and more subtle through our lives. We don't do this intentionally. This is the sort of thing that just kind of happens as we pick up the things that didn't serve us in the past. And the phrase that we often hear is, I thought I had dealt with that. I thought I was done with that. I didn't have to deal with that anymore. I knew this. Why did I have to learn this again? And when those circumstances come up, and they do, it's an invitation for you to be gentle with yourself. Because when you find yourself learning a lesson again, you can smack yourself in the head and say, oh, what's the matter with me? I should know better, yada, 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 all the rest of that. Or you can understand that you're coming back around to this same circumstance or learning because you get to learn it at a deeper level. You get to dive into it a little bit more. There's a truth that's wanting to be revealed, and you might have gotten the big picture of it previously, but now you're getting a little more of the nuance, a little bit more of the detail about what it is to be you in that situation and to engage with it. Sometimes it involves uncovering things that you didn't realize you believed, or that you didn't understand the depth of what you believed. There is so much that a lot of people are diving into now. There's, once again, there are arguments about race and culture and what that means in our society. There are indigenous people that were here before the people who brought in the slaves. I mean, there are lots of stories going back and back and back and back. Wonderful opportunities to go back and find out who wrote the history books that the students learn in school. Who's packing those bags? And how did those come to be there? There's some fascinating things when you start looking into history, just to understand the story. And again, it's a spiral, it's a circle. You go, you dig in a little bit, and you get to dig in a little deeper and a little deeper and a little deeper. The way that works with our baggage, you can imagine taking a smelly pair of socks that have served their purpose, that are in your bags or whatever, for whatever reason, and you take them out of there and you throw them on your beloved, and you say, God, those stink, and now you stink. And eventually you learn not to throw them at your beloved, and eventually you learn that you don't need to carry them around at all. But it becomes more subtle, because you can dig through and find the socks in your bags. But you ever get home from a trip, and when you empty out the suitcase, there's stuff in there. There's like debris. Some are little particles of things. Now, did you pack those? No. Did you want those to be in there? No. That's not something that you ever thought about. And there it is. And you've been carrying it around. You just got home from a trip. You actually checked that on the airplane, and you picked it up at the baggage claim again because it was in there. Sometimes it's sand. There's sand or dirt in the bag. And that's a little tiny part of it. You need to do a deep clean in order to find that stuff. And that's still part of your belief system. That's still operating on the way that you're encountering things in your life. And as I'm talking about this, you're understanding that process and possibly remembering the time that you took the washcloth or the sponge or whatever it was, and you cleaned out your suitcase, which is an activity that we're all involved in from time to time. And did you ever have the experience where you got an opportunity to, like, either, this happened to me a couple of times. I spent a fair amount of time traveling on business. My cologne, the cap came off the cologne. Everything smelled like the cologne. And it smelled like that for a long time. And fortunately, I liked the smell of it. But you know, if you bought incense for a friend and brought it home in your bag, is it possible that months or years later, when you put stuff into that suitcase, it's going to come out smelling like the incense or the perfume? And understanding that flavor, that texture, that tone is something that has been introduced, that you've been carrying around, that's influencing the ideas or the thoughts or whatever it is that you're carrying around with you. Understanding that it's there is the first huge step in being able to work with it. To know, what am I carrying around with me? What is it that I either believe or have some hidden belief? Those are the really insidious ones. We've all done it as we're going through our growth process, to dig in and find out, well, why is it that I keep on having these relationships, or the same experience at work? You know, I start this great new job and everything is possible and it seems like it's going to be wonderful, and then my coworkers turn out to be disinterested, and my boss turns out to be a jerk, and it happens over and over and over again. And what we say is the only thing those have in common is me. So there's something in my baggage that's letting me engage with these people and bring those same experiences on again, and to invite that in. It happens at a subconscious level. It happens at a deep down level. That's what Ernest Holmes was talking about in the reading. It works for us at that deep down level, and it's done unto us as we believe. So if we're carrying around beliefs, the ones that we're aware of, the ones that we know about, the ones that we're cherishing, or the ones that we have decided that aren't serving us, when we have a belief, we are able to shape and reform and rearrange them and shift around our baggage. And fortunately, everybody's been through this process one way or another. When you get down to the point where it's not actually incense, it's not actually perfume, it's just that slightly musty smell in the baggage. It's really subtle. It's the same work that you were doing when you were finding the stinky socks, but it's much more pervasive, and it takes a lot longer to figure out where it is and the way that you can engage with that to bring about a different experience. Now, what is it that's going to let you metaphorically rinse out your suitcase and maybe not get rid of the mustiness, maybe just reduce it a little bit. And then the next time we do it, we get to reduce it a little bit more. And we get to become a little more aligned with the experience of life that we want to be having, whatever it is that we're going to be inviting. I've often described this as a spiritual spiral. So we get into a situation and we have an experience and, oh my God, I don't like this. And we work through it. And we think that we've packed that away and we're done with it. We've unloaded it from our baggage. And then sometime later in life, something happens and we find ourselves in exactly the same sort of situation. Now, it might be deeper, it might be more subtle, it might, and almost always it sneaks up on us. Like, how did this happen again? How did I wind up in this situation again? And it's because that everything that's in our belief system continues to be active. And don't beat yourself up. Oh, I've been here before, I keep on doing the same thing. You don't actually do the same thing. If you're on the path of deepening in consciousness, you're actually on a spiral path. So you're not going around in circles, you're actually changing elevation every time it happens. So it gets a little more deep, a little more deep, a little more subtle. Your consciousness is a little bit higher. And the lessons that you're learning and the things that you're dealing with are becoming more more like smells and mustiness than they are with objects. And, you know, if you open up your baggage and you say, oh, look, it's a brick, it's pretty easy to grab the brick and get rid of it. To understand, I'm going to leave this with the building materials and I'm going to take the rest of my stuff with me because it's not going to help me on my trip. To know where it is. And most importantly, to remember that once you put something into that bag of things that have not been serving you, to leave it behind. You don't need to pick that up. And there's a notion, well, that's mine. That's my baggage. And that's what other people are talking about and saying, oh, they've got a lot of baggage. It's when we insist on carrying the old stuff along, even when we know it's not serving us anymore. That's when it gets more and more painful and becomes a controlling factor in our lives. So, pack your bags. Imagine yourself taking your life experience and dividing it up into the stuff that really, really works for you, that you love, that you cherish, that you enjoy, that's fulfilling to you and uplifting. And put that in one bag. And then put the stuff that just is no longer working for you, the lessons that you've learned and the things that have brought you discomfort or pain, lessons, ways that you have learned something. Karen Majority called them AFGEs, AFGE, another growth experience. Make up your own F. And take those and put them in a separate bag. And imagine yourself moving forward in your life and you come to the baggage claim and it's time to pick up your stuff so that you can move along to your next experience. Remind yourself to just take the bag that has the things that you want to be experiencing and leave the other behind. Because that's how we get to go and move through those experiences and not be controlled by the stuff that's in our baggage. Look at those baggage claim opportunities to not just claim your baggage, but to let it go. Let it go. Because all of those experiences that you have had have brought you to this point. They're not bad in and of themselves, but once you are at this point, you may not need those things anymore. And in order to take the next step forward in the direction that you want to, you can leave those behind. So do that process, clear out the mustiness, appreciate the smell of the perfume or the old socks, and then as appropriate, let them go, because you deserve all good. So it is.
I'm just a poor, wayfaring stranger, traveling through this world below. There is no sickness, toil, or danger in that bright land to which I go. I'm going there to see my father and all my loved ones who've gone on. I'm just going over Jordan. I'm just going over home. I know dark clouds will gather round me. I know my way is hard and steep, but golden fields lie out before me, where weary eyes no more will weep. I'm going there to see my mother. I'm going there no more to roam. I'm just going over Jordan. I'm just going over home. I'm going there to see my brother and all my loved ones who've gone on. I'm just going over Jordan. I'm just going over home. I'm just going over Jordan. I'm just going over home.
Thank you, Avi. That was beautiful. As Reverend Bill was talking, I kept thinking about all of those journeys I've made where I packed my bags and I was going for a while. So I packed everything that I wanted to take with me. And that included books. You ever get to that point where you're ready to walk out the door and you pick up the bag and you go, oh, this thing weighs a ton. Well, in fact, for me, that's the truth of what our baggage is. And it's really easy to identify. Now, you could spend years in therapy, honest, and I don't dissuade anybody from that if it's what they want to do. And I certainly suggest that you take the spiritual path and do the spiritual work to clear out your baggage. But there's a real simple way of identifying it. If it's heavy, it's baggage. Right? And so we're going to do a little bit of a meditation on the reality that in this very moment now, we have choice. We don't have to pick up that bag. We don't have to hold on to it. In fact, this may be a little painful for people, but it's a worthwhile process. Just bear with me for a few minutes. We're going to do a meditation in which we don't identify all of those things, but they're going to come to mind that are heavy in your life. Whether it's the regret, the pain caused, the pain given, whatever that heaviness is, we're gonna allow it, and then we're gonna let it go to become the light. So I invite you, if you're able, to close your eyes. We're going to take 3 deep breaths to settle ourselves into our own being. So breathe in with me, hold it for just a moment, and release. Feel the relaxation. Breathe in again, fully and completely filling the lungs. Hold it for just a moment and release. One more deep and full breath. Filling the lungs and holding it. Feel the tension across the shoulders and the chest and release. That is the feeling of letting go. Allow your breathing to return to a gentle, even pace, whatever is comfortable for you as you settle more fully into the truth of who you are. For at the outset of this short journey, I'm going to state emphatically that you are the divine embodied, the beloved of the beloved, of whom nothing has ever been done wrong, by or to. The divine light, radiating the goodness of spirit. So in this knowing of the truth of your essence, allow yourself to take a brief moment. Allow yourself to recognize those heavy places, the ideas that remain in your consciousness, that have life only in your memory, that weigh you down. Others may call it baggage. You may call it your experiences of life, the lessons learned. And without letting go of the lesson that is learned, we're going to take this opportunity to let it dissolve into the light of the essence of who we are. So just allow yourself to feel the heaviness of those moments, the childhood disappointments, moments of fear, moments of deep emotional or perhaps physical pain, moments of loss. Feel how they weigh down the spirit with just the memory, for these are gone. The past is no more. It lives only in your memory. So allow yourself to feel that heaviness. And now imagine at the very core of your being, a brilliant pinpoint of light. Physical lightness, visual lightness, spiritual lightness. And let it expand from the center of your being, moving outward, taking away the heaviness of the remembered feelings and experiences, allowing in this moment for transformation, for release. Feeling it moving outward from the core of your being into your extremities, moving all the way out to the very tips of your fingers, the tips of your toes, the crown of your head, and allow it to radiate even further as you feel buoyed up. And with this, it brings the special moments, the memories of love, of creative expression, of joy, of communion, buoying you even more into this ethereal essence of being. Lighter than a feather, radiant truth expressed as you. Not a loss of individuality, but an expansion of it into the fullness of your perfect self in this moment now. And so as we deepen even further into this feeling of lightness and awareness and a deeper silence within, allow yourself to expand that feeling.
All of these experiences, all of these events have helped to bring us to where we are now. The ones that have worked really well to support and uplift us, the ones that are no longer serving, that were hard lessons to learn, have all brought us to this point, this brand new creative moment, this opportunity, with the awareness of that one infinite power and presence, that divine intelligence, that limitless love, that infinite field of possibility that is spirit itself, is sharing itself through and as in all of its creation. Everything is that divine essence taking particular form. Everything, every moment, every location, every particle, every person is that divine light of infinite love, taking specific and particular form. That's true of each of us. We are each shining that light and being that love and accessing that infinite intelligence and living that one infinite life in our own specific way. So I know that the turning point is upon us, the ability to learn even more deeply what it is that's in our baggage that's not working for us anymore, with an even fresher understanding and ability and willingness to put it down, to move on, to allow the lightness in our step, to allow that light to shine through us. That's what's going on now for each of us, in new ways that are subtle or dramatic, that are obvious or inward. That love is unfolding through and as and in each one here right now. And it does so continuously, bringing more love and more good and more joy and more harmony and more of that which we are desiring into our lives. It's different for each of us, and I'm grateful for the wonderful, diverse ways that it's showing up. So with gratitude for all of this good that's already unfolding, with gratitude for the ability to make these choices, to set these intentions, to move even more fully into the experience of our dreams. With gratitude for all of this, I speak this word of intention into that creative law that has always said yes. Always says yes. And to this powerful and positive intention, it is once again saying yes. This word is spoken. I let it be. And so it is. Go ahead and take another deep, full breath and let yourself be filled. Let it go. You continue breathing, bring your awareness back into your body. Wiggle your fingers and toes, maybe shrug your shoulders, and open your eyes as Avi sings another song for us.
Way over yonder is the place that I know, where I can find shelter from a hunger and cold, and the sweet taste in good life is so easily found. Way over yonder, that's where I'm bound. I know when I get there, the first thing I'll see is the sun shining golden, shining right down on me. Sweet taste and good life is so easily found. Way over yonder, that's where I'm bound. Maybe tomorrow I'll find my way to the land where the honey runs in rivers each day. Then trouble's gonna lose me, worry leave me behind, and I'll stand up proudly, true peace of mind. And the where I'm bound. Way over yonder, that's where I'm bound.
Beautiful. Thank you, Avi. So we've been digging through our bags, coming up with some ideas. And perhaps you have something that you'd like to give voice to, some new insight. Or Jesus, looks like your hand is up. And you got to tell us where you are currently.
And itself, I'm in Virginia. Reverend Dave was talking about Alessandra before. I was passing through there when he was saying. But yeah, so wonderful. I just asked to experience something new, which I did in this celebration. I want to thank Reverend Dave for that beautiful opening prayer and the meditation. It was great to hear that voice. I haven't heard her for a while, but it seemed like yesterday. Everything's no space and time, everything is in the now. And the music was wonderful. That reading that Sandy did, the words was terrific, and her voice was wonderful. I don't know what it was the voice or the words, but I know it was the presence in her that it's not that you guessing what she's gonna say, but I already knew. But it seems so new to me, and it's just a reminder. Every time you hear words like that, it's always good to hear it, even though you know it. But every time it's new. And the talk, I always like to. That question they always ask you in the airport: did somebody else pack your bags? A lot of times I let people pack my bags. I have packed other people's bags, and I put things there. They put things there that not going to serve me. So right now, I always pack my bags now because everything I pack is going to be useful for my journey. And I just pack my bag of goodies and keep on my journey. And about what Reverend said about those dirty socks, sometimes at my partner, I take it in a more radical way. I throw my dirty underwear, it's not at my partner, I throw it at the floor. And then they ask me, whose underwears are these? I said, well, they're not mine, so I got a couple of questions of my own. But that talk is so universal. You could take it so many different ways. And what Reverend said, that heavy, and Dave, what he said about that illustration is just wonderful. That you could be all day with the same talk and take it here and take it there. And I just appreciate how Reverend Dr. Bill brought that across. It put me to think about all those things that I put in my bags that it's not useful for me, that I just gotta discard it and just put things there that are gonna benefit me and whoever I touch and everybody around me and far away from me. So thank you, appreciate it.
Beautiful. Thank you, Jesus. Yeah, that was interesting observation. If that dirty underwear isn't mine, then we got a different kind of problem. Sandy, did you want to share?
Oh, I didn't even realize I had my hand up. I was like going like that for Jesus, but I will say it was just a beautiful service. And, when you were talking about the baggage, I just felt like I must be the queen of multiple bags. I walk around with I take it out of one suitcase and put it in another and then pick up that one. Um, and I pride myself in the fact that I can carry so many bags. And then the dirty socks. I thought about being single, and that image of throwing the dirty socks on people in every relationship I've had, throwing those dirty socks. And people do not want to smell those dirty socks. So it was just enjoyable, and everything brought me deeper inside. And thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Sandy. Anybody else? Linda Francis, and then Carla Ann.
So first of all, Avi, fabulous music. I enjoyed every song, was better than the next. Dave, that was such an amazing meditation. I mean, I really, really got into it. I really went down into that. I felt it all. And Bill, that you really helped with the baggage metaphor, because I'm a big metaphor person, but somehow or other, everything in my head sort of clicked. And I thought, okay, today's a really good day for me to take all that crap out of those bags and put it somewhere else. Just keep it off to the side. It doesn't have to be with me all the time, every day, ever again. And so I thank you all. This was a spectacular day, and it's just going to get better. So thank you, everybody.
Beautiful. Thank you. And batting cleanup, Carla Ann, which.
Go Phillies. Thank you. That was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful service. And, my energy hasn't been where it normally is this weekend. And everything in the service was exactly what I needed. The music was beautiful and the reading was great. And Reverend Dave, the meditation was just absolutely awesome. And Reverend Bill, the talk. And it's funny because, and it was just great seeing the two of you together again also. And it's funny, I always say it. I was at the beach last week and I said it. I tend to overpack when I travel because I hate not to have everything that I might want. So I'd rather have more than I need rather than one thing that I, and so I wonder how that changes when I think about my spirituality and my consciousness. So I'll have to ponder that for a while, but the whole service was just so awesome. And I love you guys. And thank you all very much.
Thank you.
And go Phillies.
I was surprised that you're here. I know that you're going to the game this afternoon.
Yes, I'm leaving 30 seconds after we finish. Might close it right there.
Perfect. Sarah brought up a question earlier about the Practical Prayer podcast, that she searched for it on Spotify and she couldn't find it. You type in Practical Prayer and it gives you this laundry list of podcasts. It turns out that everybody in the world who uses the word prayer and practical together comes up in the Spotify list. If you type in Rev, it's still a laundry list. But any of the other words, you can type in Bill or Marcione or Carol or Lawrence or even DD, and it comes up in the list. So there you go. And by the way, shout out to Carol Lawrence, who's been recording the podcast with me every week. Just a wonderful co-host. Give them a listen, give them a subscribe. I'll tell you, go ahead and give me a 5-star rating on and subscribe, just so that it looks like you're listening. And you don't actually have to listen, although they're pretty fun to listen to. Enough blathering for me. It's Sarah's turn.
Thank you. New Thought Philadelphia is all about spreading the love. Our community is supported by your contributions. The gift you share helps fund our work in the world, and the way you shine your light spreads the love. We are grateful for every way you share. We don't have a basket today, but there is a donate button on the website to make a donation by credit card or PayPal. You can also mail a check to our office in Ardmore. The offering affirmation is on the screen. Go ahead and unmute, and we can say it all together. I live in an abundant universe. I am one with the infinite source of all good. I am the center of conscious prosperity. I enjoy the richness of life. I bless my gifts and share my gift with joy. I know that as I give, I do receive. So it is.
So it is. Mute again, and it's Avi's turn.
Thank you, everyone. It is always so wonderful to be with you in community and in spirit today. I know something that makes me feel lighter and less weighed down from my baggage is always music. So I hope this song that I end with today is one I love to share with you. And even though we're still muted for the end of the service, I hope you'll sing along with me wherever you are. And I hope it makes you feel lighter as we go into our week. Here we go. This dark cloud will soon pass over. This dark cloud will soon pass over. This dark cloud will pass, and there will be sun, sun, sun. A storm's about to appear, and not a thing will be dry. But the skies, they always clear. It's just a matter of time. This dark cloud will soon pass over. This dark cloud will soon pass over. This dark cloud will pass, and there will be sun, sun, sun. We're stuck with nowhere to go. It's quite a disheartening thing, but instead of getting low, let's get together and sing. This dark cloud will soon pass over. This dark cloud will soon pass over. This dark cloud will pass, and there will be sun, sun, sun. Said this dark cloud will soon pass over. This dark cloud will soon pass over. This dark cloud will pass, and there will be sun, sun, sun. I see feeling blue. Life's not how you want it to be. So until the sun shines through, you can sing along with me. Let's sing. This dark cloud will soon pass over. This dark cloud will soon pass over. This dark cloud will pass, and there will be sun, sun, sun. Said this dark cloud will soon pass over. This dark cloud will soon pass over. This dark cloud will pass, and there will be sun, sun, sun. One more time. Say this dark cloud will soon pass over. This dark cloud will soon pass over. This dark cloud will pass, and there will be sun, 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 sun.
Thank you, Avi. That's wonderful. And on the one hand, it's a little sad that we couldn't get together in person today, but then again, I'm looking around the screen and we've got Carol, who's on one side of the Atlantic, and Patrick, who's on the other side of the Atlantic, and Carolyn, who's next to Lake Michigan. So it's okay. It's okay. We're all bringing our own bodies of water. Let us close with a cacophony. Go ahead and unmute your microphone, and you can repeat after me. I am love.
I am love.
I am light.
I am light.
I let my light shine,
I let my light shine,
and I let the love flow.
and I let
The love flow.
Good is right here, right now.
Good is right here,
right
now.
And so it is.
And so it is.
It is.
Yay! Glory to God.
Mwah. Take care, everyone.
Have a great
Enjoy
day,
the game,
Carla.
Carla.
Thank you, go Phillies. Women's 8 in a row.
8 in a row. That's awesome. Go Phillies.
Woohoo.
See ya.
First place, the brilliant first place. Number one.
Everybody
back,
have a
kids.
fabulous day.
Thanks.
Good to see you, Linda.
Really good to see you too, Dave.
Yes, good to see
You too,
everybody.
you too,
See you
Patrick.
again.
Patrick.
And
Hey,
again,
thanks
thanks.
for
The
having me.
meditation was awesome.
Thank
Bye.
you.
All right, such a pleasure to be with all of you. Thank you again for having me. It's great to see you.
It
Thank
was
you,
great to have
Abby.
you.
Beautiful music. Thank you.
Music.
Thank you. Thank you. Beautiful week to everybody, wherever you are.
Yep, we didn't get to
You
sing
will,
together, but you didn't have to carry the piano. So
Yeah.
Bye.
I hope sometime soon, whenever it's safe, we'll do it.
Yep. Yes, we
Be
will.
nice.
Thank you, Dave.
My pleasure, sir. It's been fun.
Thank you, Rev.
Have a good one.
Revs, thank both Revs.
Alroy, be well.
Yes.
Good to see you, Alroy.
Okay, I'm going.
Love y'all.
Love you too.
Right.
Great to see you.
I'm going to call you this afternoon, Jesus.
Okay.